Over the past few seasons, retro football boots have been more commonly spotted on pitches across the globe. But why is it that players are choosing to wear older boots rather than the latest boots or recent colorways? And in this video, I'll be giving you the reasons why that is, as well as how you can pick up a pair of retro football boots for yourself. Now, for the sake of this video, Toni Kroos is an obvious exception because he has a special relationship with Adidas. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking that the reason why players are wearing older boots rather than the most recent ones is because older boots are better. But that raises questions. And that is, what actually makes a football boot good? And for me, it can be split into the two P's. So performance, so that's things like comfort, fit, responsiveness of the outsole, etc. And perception. And that's influenced by how the boot is marketed and how it makes a consumer like us feel. So things like player endorsements, the brand itself, as well as marketing ads. Performance-wise, I actually have no doubts that football boots have improved and have constantly been improving. And this is just generally across the market, not excluded to Nike, Adidas and Puma, but the entire market. If you look around boots from 10 years ago compared to now, the ones now are just much better than before. And like I said before, just a natural evolution of product development. But I guess there's also a bit of durability concern as well as like the inflation of prices, but I think that's a bit separate. And perception-wise, I think it has a lot to do with a bit of nostalgia bias. I think every person growing up, they're more impressionable, so the things back then are more fondly remembered than the things that are now, as well as the fact that I actually think brands don't market the boots as creatively as they used to before. We used to have ads like the winner stays, the last game, all that kind of stuff. Compared to what we have now, there's a stark difference. More on the two P's in another video. So if older boots aren't as good in terms of performance, why are players choosing to wear them now? And one major reason as to why players are now wearing older boots is because brands are becoming a lot more selective with who they hand out endorsement deals to. Take, for example, Nike. A while back, they said they'll be cutting costs a bit to 2026 as well as restructuring their company. And since that announcement, we've seen many players leave Nike as Nike has chosen not to renew their contracts or match their first refusal offers. And this is just throughout the brand as well. But in terms of football, over the last few years, we've seen the likes of Neymar, Sergio Ramos, Harry Kane leave. It's also added that on the overlap, Wayne Rooney did mention the fact that Nike aren't offering contracts to players over the age of 30. So you can clearly see that their thinking is that they're trying to capture the minds of the future generation of footballers. It could also be that they are maybe sponsored with Nike still, for example. I'm just sticking with Nike for now, that players still sponsored by Nike, but they have it in their contract. They don't necessarily have to wear the latest colorway. Take, for example, Phil Foden. Even though the Phantom GX2 came out in, January time or so, he continued wearing the Spark Pack of the Nike Phantom GX1. And then in the case with players who aren't like endorsed at all, they're free to do whatever they want. But however, if they're wearing dead stock boots, they have to like source them themselves. In truth, endorsement deals don't necessarily have a good return on investment, as not every player will guarantee sales of a product. So being more selective with endorsement deals is a good way to save costs. And you can clearly see I'll just use Nike again as an example, that they're only keeping the cream of the crop of players. So we've seen the most recent Euros Copa advert that they did, the Awaken Your Madness. You had Vinny, you had Haaland, you had Mbappe. And of course, another reason is personal preference. Endorsement deals aren't as big a deal as they used to be. Unless you're going to be put at the forefront of all the marketing stuff like the likes of Mbappe and Vinny Jr., there's no real incentive for players to have one unless you're just getting like free stuff, and money really isn't an item to them at some point. So rather than signing with brands, players would rather have the freedom to choose what they want to wear when they play. And as the saying goes,
if you dress good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good.
Now, there's another trend that I've spotted with the retro boots that these players are wearing. Now, and if you take a closer look, the boots that these players are usually spotted wearing came out around 2013 onwards. And the reason for this, number one, is personal preference, and they're easier to source, I guess, than older boots. And another one, I think since 2013 to like 2016, that was like the last big kind of period where we saw a vast change in the football boot design market. So that was the introduction of things like mid-cut collars, one-piece uppers, knitted uppers, etc. And since then, we've only seen like incremental changes. However, from time to time, we will see players who wear boots from like the mid-2000s. Durability is also another thing. Boots that were released more than 10 years ago, which have not necessarily been used, will have some sort of durability problem, and they won't last as long as if they were like made a few years ago, for example. However, because of the big salaries that some of these players earn, they can just continually go and buy these boots. Like, for example, the Hypervenom 1, it had durability issues when it first came out, and it's only going to get worse now. So I'm pretty sure there's still players who will just continue buying the Hype Venom 1 because they love it so much despite the issues with the durability. But how and where are these players getting these rare boots from? And the quick answer is Instagram. Because of brands slowly cutting back on who they provide endorsement deals to or who they provide boots to, it's now created this great era of resellers. Players are easily able to get these boots because they'll just be able to contact resellers on Instagram who will source the boots for them. You can also do the same, but just know for some boots you're actually going to be competing with professional footballers. So hopefully you're not the same size as Mike or Lise and want the Hyper Venom 3. Another place that you can look for rare boots is like Vinted, eBay, Depop, Depop. I'll get it right one day, but yeah, that site. With football boots, I guess performance can only mean so much with them. Like, you know, if someone wears, like if Ronaldo was to wear the Mercure Vapor 3 in his next game, he's not going to be a worse player than if he wore the latest Mercure, do you know what I mean? A boot's not necessarily going to make you a better footballer as such, but, you know, like I said before, as the saying goes,
If you dress good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good.
and that's been it for the video, guys. I'm pretty sure there's more reasons which I've forgotten. Please comment down below. Like always, please leave a like, subscribe, follow me on my socials. Thank you for watching. My name is Sub. This is Substance Football. See you next time.